Yeah. All right, good morning, everyone. We'll get going here. All right. U.S. markets had a nice little correction yesterday. About 0.75% pretty much across indexes. You can see there every sector was down on the day. We really started to make a pullback after people started to see things falling through from the most recent attempts by House Republicans to put something together. Now things have moved to the Senate. The Senate's trying to put something together, so I think it's still up in the air. It looks like we're going to wait till the last second again to get something done. Obviously, you can see that the market is still betting that they're going to get something done. S&P futures up 9 points this morning. So we also have started to see a bit more of earnings season come out with Citigroup, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, a whole swath of reporting that was out yesterday. Actually, I don't think Citi was yesterday, but it was. But bottom line is, starting to give us something else to actually pay attention to, even though it's not the focus at the moment. You can see there that in Asia overnight we're down mostly. Australia managed to have small gains, but we pulled back over 1.5% out of Shanghai. So, and then we also have had Fitch that came out yesterday. Toward the middle of the session, talking about they're putting it on a credit watch, the U.S. on credit watch with possible downgrades, which is it's funny because I was doing some reading last night before I saw that come out, and that's exactly what happened last time. If you remember, the final leg down was when we got the downgrade out of S&P last in 2011 when they were having the debt ceiling debate. So, this is something to watch. That really triggered some heavy selling last time, and obviously it'll probably do the same this time if it happens. So just keep that in the back of your mind. We obviously had gold that bounced yesterday off of some support around 1250. It's coming back to test at the moment what was the neckline on that head and shoulder pattern at around 1285. And we're right up around those levels this morning. So if we get up above that, I think we'll start to see some further upside. But obviously, it's guys are coming in buying a little bit of gold here for some protection in case things really get ugly and we don't get to a solution. So I think it's just a little bit of insurance on that play. You can see the array of earnings we had yesterday and this morning that are coming. We've got we had LVMH that was out yesterday with revenue of $702 billion. Expectations were for $724. Organic sales were also lower than expected at 8% versus 10% expected. We had Yahoo that had a kind of a small beat on the EPS line, in line on the revenue number. Intel was a nice beat on both numbers. And Coca-Cola, I believe, was also a miss. We've got Bank of America. We've got Bancorp, U.S. Bancorp, Pepsi. We've got Bank of America, eBay, IBM, and Amex out today. So pretty heavily weighted in the financial side, but still a lot of earnings out today. Okay, this morning on the data front, we've got UK jobless claims change. We've got the unemployment rate as well. We've got European CPI, and we've got local retail sales. And then we've got the Fed that's going to release this beige book tonight in the States. Like I said, I think we're at a point right now where we're really going to be mainly focused on what's happening in the debt ceiling negotiations. I think everything else right now is kind of swept to the side, not really paid attention to at all. I think what also is important is that we've got once they do come to a deal to end the budget shutdown or the government shutdown in the States, what we're going to do is we're going to have a huge release about a week later of all the data that was supposed to come out. So we're really going to get this onslaught of data as well as a whole lot of earnings news at the same time. So there's going to be a big change in focus very quickly, and I think it's important to actually kind of keep up with what's going on right now in the U.S. earnings season, so that we can kind of have an idea of how the market's going to be focusing thereafter. All right, let's jump into the maps. Okay, first thing I want to look at here is the DAX, and that chart does not look right. Let me just okay, there we go. All right, you can see here that we've just broken out to the upside to new all-time highs on yesterday's session on the DAX. Obviously, starting to break out of this flag pattern quite nicely. You can see here, if we really take a measure from from where we came down, tested support to the breakout point, we're looking at about 200 points. So we'd probably be looking at 200 points of upside through the call it 87.35 level. So I think we could trade all the way to 89.35 potentially on the DAX, which we closed over 88 yesterday. So we're only about 100 points away from that sort of level on the DAX anyway. Let's look at BTI. BTI, you can see here, really it's starting to be able to round itself off of support on a bit of a rounded bottom here. This chart, I think, is looking a lot like the SA Breweries chart. It's kind of close to this 200-day moving average. You've had a lot of touches down around this level at 510 Rand, and we're starting to be able to push away a little bit from it. You saw Breweries yesterday, which we saw a nice push off of the kind of 470 level. We've traded all the way up to around 480, low 480s. And I think we could end up having the same thing happen in BTI. You obviously have the protection of Rand, the Rand weakening. So this might not be a bad little place to nibble if you're looking to put some long risk on, but in a defensive. All right, let's look at Nedbank here. Nedbank, I'm actually going to, either way you look at this is breaking out. If you kind of look at it as a flag, or if you just look at it from a closing high point of view, we've broken out. So I think this is a nice little play maybe for some further upside. Banks have been some of the strongest shares on our board now for several sessions. You can see there that we've definitely potentially got some extra upside here. I would say in the neighborhood of maybe $4 or $5. Not a huge upside, but I think 212, 213 could easily be on the cards in Nedbank if we get in a couple more days of rally. Anglo's has had a nice break. Let's back out a little bit here, but I kind of missed this one the other day because it didn't quite make a key reversal, but it was maybe 1 or 2 cents away from making a key reversal down here 4 sessions ago. And we also really, this is strictly a flag pattern after we turned into a bit of an uptrend here. And it really came right down to where we broke out from. So that's quite perfect. I mean, this thing's definitely got a higher target here in Anglo's. Wouldn't be surprised, if market can keep any sort of momentum, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing jump above what were previous highs over the last couple months. Naspers we'll look at as well. I mean, obviously with the way we've pushed the last few days, a lot of the stocks are starting to break out here a little bit. Naspers is one of them. Gave us that head fake 4 or 5 days ago. And then just really yesterday was a huge up day, hard reversal day. And same sort of thing, we're starting to look like we're flagging a little bit here. It's definitely broken out from that point of view. What I'd like to maybe look at is, if you look at the 1 day there, you can see there 56.50 was where we closed back in the middle of September. That was our all-time closing high. I think if we get above 56.50, in my mind, it's a straight shot to 1,000. You got to remember that this sort of range that we're breaking out from is basically a 50 Rand range, so it projects us to 1,000 anyway. And I think if we can close above 56.50, I really think all the momentum's going to be there, and it'll get us there quite quickly. All right, Sassel's another one that we'd been talking about around this this 494 level. You could kind of see this one. It failed on the breakout day before yesterday, but yesterday it really made the nice move. Another one of these patterns that we've seen a lot of over the past few sessions. And you can really see here, I mean, this target can easily project us up to 515, maybe even 520, depending on how you want to look at it. But it's definitely more upside on Sassel, provided the market can give us some sort of assistance. All right, and the last one we're going to look at is MTN. MTN actually yesterday, I didn't realize it until this morning, I was going through the charts, made a new closing high. I drew that a little bit skew, but the point is on the closing basis, that's a closing high for MTN at 99.75. I think the previous closing high was at 99.50. We did get a closing high here, and the next day we've got bad news from Casa out of for the interconnection rates. So we obviously saw a huge, a solid pullback off of that, but we're already regained that level, breaking out to new closing highs. I'd be very wary of this strictly just because it's failed at 200 now a couple times, and I think it's burned a lot of fingers here. But if we can close above 200, I think it could also be off to the races. So this chart's still looking quite bullish, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us trade up to 205, 207 in the next few sessions. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.